Hey everybody. Yeah, I was going to do this last night, but I fell asleep. As you can tell, my bed is not yet made because I just got up a little while ago, or a little bit ago, I should say. But I wanted to come on here and give you my thoughts on the news that was pretty much confirmed by multiple sources yesterday that Cody Rhodes has in fact indeed re-signed with WWE. And there is no doubt that a lot of people that felt from the beginning, when it was announced that Cody and Brandy were not going to return to AEW and pretty much, give up every opportunity that they were given under the AEW banner, to, go back to WWE, a lot of people were hoping that this was a work. A lot of people were hoping that Cody Rhodes would show up at the end of Revolution, attack Hangman Page, make himself a heel, and declare he's going to go after the world title. Even playing to the fact that, hey, AEW seems to be against him. He helped found it. He was one of the EVPs. So, if they don't want to support him, then he's going to be against them and he's going to go after their top prize. Even though he said that he probably wouldn't because he lost to whoever's at Jericho. But now he's going to relent on that because, hey, if AEW doesn't want to help him, why should he keep his promise? Or something like that. And a lot of people were hoping that would happen. A lot of people were hoping that now that Tony Khan owns, Ring of Honor, that Cody would be the person that would come in and be the Triple H of Ring of Honor, since Ring of Honor is being looked at as AEW's NXT. Unfortunately, that's not going to be the case according to multiple sources who found out through people at WWE, mostly Mike Johnson, a PW insider finding this out, that Cody Rhodes has indeed signed with the company, and he did so about 2 weeks ago. Now, here's the thing. The reason this didn't get out at that time, apparently, was I think what happened is, just like with Tony Khan, about around the same time, announcing that he owned Ring of Honor, just like Tony Khan had probably, along with every other party involved in that agreement, had signed an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. I think the same could be said here for Cody Rhodes and WWE. Cody probably, my assumption, my opinion, probably re-signed with the company after he heard that Tony Khan owned, had bought and owned Ring of Honor. And he probably found out, again, my opinion, that Tony Khan and all the parties involved agreed to an NDA, which is a non-disclosure agreement, so that the word wouldn't get out, sooner than when Tony Khan himself wanted it to be known, which was, of course, the Dynamite before Revolution. Now, with that said, could Cody have taken a page out of Tony Khan's playbook and said, hey, I'll sign with you guys now that we've all agreed on what needs to be done, but I don't want it to get out until such and such time? Maybe. Now, here's what's interesting, though. Even if that is true, there's nothing in the non-disclosure agreement that says that the multitude of WWE sources can't remain anonymous. I mean, word could get out, but it doesn't mean, it has to be revealed as to who it is. All they have to do is say, hey, I heard from multiple sources within the company who wish to remain anonymous that yes, he has indeed signed. That way, through the loophole, that it's not known who may have, leaked the information. Now, with that said, was there a lot of people, and still are there a lot of people that are not thrilled with this news? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I haven't heard what JD from NY206 has said or anything, but I guarantee you he's not happy. But one person I can tell you that's definitely not happy is Alex Hicks. Just Alex, formerly Deluxe Man here on YouTube. And the reason he's not happy about this is he doesn't like the overall feeling I get from Alex, and I say this with all due respect and love for the guy, because he's one of the great wrestling YouTubers out there who's not afraid to give his opinion unscripted, live, and live for that matter. But from what I can get, from what I can digest and get from what Alex has said in his live stream last night, he's not basically thrilled that Cody would decide to give up all this freedom that he had. Creative freedom, being able to, wrestle when he wants to wrestle, be on these multitude of other platforms and stuff. He's not thrilled that Cody would want to give that up to go back and wrestle for the company that once basically, tried to keep the legal rights to his family's legitimate last name before he was able to get it back, as well as go back to the company that he has took multitude of shots at when he was under the AEW banner. And there's a lot of other things too that Alex pointed out. There's a lot of other things Alex pointed out, and I'm sure others have pointed out similar, things, similar critiques, if you will, as to why, this just isn't, to them, this just isn't the right thing for Cody to do. I mean, the other thing that Alex pointed out was, why would, he pointed out and asked is, why would Cody want to leave at a time where this young, up-and-coming, second biggest promotion in the land in AEW is starting to hit its stride, where it's now got talents like a Bryan Danielson, where it's got a CM Punk, where it just brought in a Keith Lee and a Shane Swerve Strickland, and a few others. Why would you want to leave at this time to go back and work for WWE? And again, these are very good questions. Now, the one answer I think everybody would agree that Alex, did mention as to the reasoning is because all Cody was asking for was a bigger paycheck. That's all he was asking for. He was just asking for his check, for his pay raise, to be upped to the levels of a Cody Rhodes. And not Cody Rhodes, but a CM Punk, a Bryan Danielson, a Moxley to an extent. He was just asking for a bit of a raise, a bit of a upgrade, uptick, if you will, in what he gets paid, especially as an EVP. But Tony Khan said, no, I'm not going to pay you that. And, if I look at it from Cody's perspective, I can't blame the guy for being upset and wanting to leave. It's, because here's the thing. You think Cody wants to leave because, everything's getting overcrowded with this roster? All the focus is now being put on the likes of Punk and Kingston and Moxley and Danielson and, all these other people. You think I'm leaving because the roster is now becoming so overcrowded that most of them may have to end up in the Ring of Honor brand? No, I'm not leaving because of that. In fact, I would welcome it. Because, as Alex points out, there's a lot of matches I would love to, if I'm Cody Rhodes, I would have loved to go and be a part of. Cody Rhodes against Punk, Cody Rhodes against Danielson, which I think we've seen before in WWE. But not on the level but not with the Danielson we see now. Rhodes, I think with Moxley, we haven't seen that yet. Although we've seen Rhodes and Ambrose. But like I said, not this version of Ambrose / Moxley. Rhodes Lee, Rose Strickland. You get the idea. So if I'm Cody Rhodes, no, I would not want to pass that up. But if I feel that I have put in so much time and effort to help build this company, from within to help make it what it is today, is along with going out and giving some of the best matches of my career in that squared circle, in my opinion, if I'm Cody, then I truly feel I have earned the opportunity to have my pay rate up to the levels of a Danielson and a Punk and so on. And if I feel like, hey, I'm not going to get that, even though I've done everything that I've just mentioned, then of course I'm going to feel insulted, and I'm going to use that old adjective of, okay, if you can't, give me what I want here, and allow me to get more over than I have before, as well as have these kick-ass matches people want me to have with all these people you're bringing in, then I'm going to go elsewhere and get what I want and have some kick-ass matches and maybe some storylines. And maybe I might take, certain, secrets of the trade with me to give to them to use against you. And, if I'm Cody Rhodes, that's probably my thought process. So, you can't blame Cody if that's maybe what was going through his mind when he made the decision to resign. Now, here's the thing. Does anybody trust WWE to use Cody properly? Of course not. I mean, Alex, in his stream last night, said it best. He doesn't think Cody's gonna, last at the top of the mountain, if you will, for more than 6 months at most. Like, he'll get his shot at the WWE or Universal Championship, the Unified Championship, whatever it is, at SummerSlam or around that time frame, and then back to the upper mid-card or just mid-card period. All because he doesn't trust WWE to handle Cody or someone like Cody Rhodes, properly. But here's the thing, though. Like I mentioned, if I'm Cody Rhodes and I'm going back to the company that tried to keep my family's last name of Rhodes to themselves and not let me have it, to come out to. If I'm going to go back to the company that I've taken constant shots at, throughout my run in AEW, all because I feel that they're going to compensate me for what I feel I've truly earned and deserved while under that AEW banner, then I'm not going to go there without a plan. And my plan is, hey, to sweeten the pot, I'll let them in on some of the, secrets of the trade that help make AEW successful. Like what the AEW, faithful, what the fan base found appealing about AEW that maybe WWE can apply to their product to an extent. So if I'm Cody Rhodes, I'm not going in there without a plan, to ensure that no matter what happens, I'm in a good position. But again, this goes back to what I said. Do fans trust WWE to make sure he stays in that good position? No, they don't. They feel after 6 months or so, he's going to go back to the upper mid-card or mid-card. And the honest truth, when it comes to the fans feeling upset that Cody would make this decision and take this risk, without having a plan or even having a plan, is stupid, if not very hypocritical. And the thing is, you can't blame, like I said, you can't blame the fans. But on the other hand, if you look at it from Cody's perspective, you can't blame him either. But I look at it this way from Cody's perspective too. Like I mentioned, he's put thought into this, before he put ink to paper. He's realizing, if I go back, I got to go back with a plan. And the plan obviously is to probably, share secrets of what made AEW successful, what he contributed to make AEW successful, and allow that to be utilized by WWE in exchange that he stays in a proper position as an on-screen talent. To the point that even if he doesn't truly compete for the championship, that at least he'll still be remaining in the main event picture no matter what, as well as be part of main event storylines, going forward. So if I'm Cody Rhodes, I know that with the experience I've accumulated, outside of WWE in the past, 4, 5, 6 years or something, away from them, then I know that if I'm going to go back, I got to make sure I have a plan that's going to make sure I'm taken care of, that I'm put in a steady, very, very reliable, very, I guess you could say, very reliable, very, what's the word I'm looking for? very notable position when I go back. And maybe he's done that. We don't know. But like I said, you can't blame fans as well for feeling the way they do. Because, they feel like, why would you go back to a company that took your family, tried to keep ownership of your family's name, that basically never saw you as anything more than a mid to lower, saw you nothing more than as a mid, if not at times upper mid-card talent. Why would you go back to a company that basically turned you into the bootleg version of Gold Dust and all that? Why would you do this? Why would you do all that? And that is a good question. But again, the answer, I think, from Cody's perspective, he wants to prove to Tony Khan and AEW that, hey, even if I'm not in a position that people believe I should be in, and that's like in the main event picture, the championship picture, that at least I'm going to be compensated and utilized properly. That's what I was looking for, properly. And hopefully he, like I said, he has a plan. Hopefully, with all the experience he's accumulated, he's come up with a plan that's going to allow him that opportunity to do just that. However, let's take a look at another reason why people like Alex are upset. And in fact, it's a reason. I just checked something there. In fact, it's a reason that I've talked about before. And that reasoning being is that, nobody that truly supports AEW since its inception as the true number 2 promotion, if not in their minds, number 1 promotion outside of WWE. That is a true alternative. That is about what WWE doesn't want to acknowledge that that they were built upon, and that's wrestling. When people that strongly support AEW keep saying that this person should go to AEW because they'll have this, they'll have that, they'll have these kick-ass matches, ding ding ding, right? When the people that strongly support AEW, hear about the possibility of a very prominent, top name, main event talent, like a Cody Rhodes, possibly, jumping back to WWE or jumping over for the first time to WWE, they don't want to hear it. They do not want to hear it whatsoever. Because to them, if there's any truth to it, what it does is it just ends up making AEW into just another major wrestling promotion that's out there for people to apply their trade at. That's all it does. It basically takes away the uniqueness, the speciality, if you will, that makes AEW different from everybody else. To them, when they hear something like this, it doesn't make AEW into what Cody once called it, at one point in a promo, I think, the utopia of pro wrestling. It doesn't make it look like the promised land of pro wrestling. It doesn't make it look like it's the, grass greener on the other side, place for pro wrestling. All it does is it just makes it look like another major promotion that's out there that just was fortunate enough to get a major TV deal with Warner Media. And that's it. It doesn't make them special anymore. It doesn't make them unique. It doesn't make them a utopia. It just makes them another one of the guys, another one of the girls. And they don't want that. They want AEW to remain special. They want AEW to remain the utopia, the promised land, the true greener on the other side, company that people need to go to be part of. They don't want to hear of someone like Cody Rhodes jumping to the enemy, to what they perceive as the enemy now, because that company doesn't like pro wrestling, or doesn't want to acknowledge that they are a pro wrestling company. because that's what they were built on. They don't want to hear that. Because to them, what that also does is that's the first of maybe millions, if not thousands of nails being hammered down into the coffin of AEW. They don't want to hear that because that's the first of many millions, if not thousands of nails being hammered in to build the coffin for AEW. Because if it becomes one of those first nails, to them, in my opinion, it just basically proves that AEW, it'll probably have a long lifespan to go, but it won't probably last as long as WWE is going to continue to go. And they don't want to acknowledge that. They don't want to realize that. Because when you have someone like a Rhodes jump back over to WWE, or maybe potentially a Jericho following suit in the future, nobody wants to see that because all that is, again, it's just another nail. It's just the first of many, many, many nails being put into the coffin of AEW a lot sooner than they want. And again, what it does is it just takes away the uniqueness and the speciality and everything that made AEW what it is, that attracted people to AEW, that attracted other men and women in this profession to AEW. It takes away everything that I mentioned, earlier. Its uniqueness, its speciality, it being the promised land, it being the greener, the pasture on, the true, grass is green on the other side, the utopia. It takes away all of that. It takes away being an alternative and just makes it another promotion. And that is why a lot of fans are not happy about Cody jumping and signing with WWE. No matter how long the contract is for, whether it's a year, 2 years, 3 years, 6 months, 9 months, it doesn't matter. To them, by Cody doing this, all he's done is just basically taking away everything, that made AEW, unique, different, a true alternative in wrestling. And they don't like that. They don't like that. Now, does Cody have no one but himself to blame if things go askew in WWE upon his return? Absolutely. He has no one but himself to blame. But according to reports, the deal it's done, it's signed, it's going to be delivered. And apparently part of the deal allows him to keep his theme song by Downstraight, which is Kingdom, which a lot of people also point out was a direct, straight shot at the WWE. He's going to be able to utilize that coming back in. So it's just one of those situations that this moment overall is a moment that AEW fans that have strongly supported the company since day one have not been looking forward to. They have not been looking forward to this because, again, what it does is it basically, in the end, turns AEW into just another one of those wrestling promotions that struck lightning in a bottle when it did by gaining national exposure and getting a national television deal, and that's it. Because by Cody going back to WWE, he takes away the utopianness of AEW, takes away the fact that it's a true promised land, a true alternative, a true unique company to be part of, a true company of speciality. A true grass is greener on the other side. He just takes everything with it. As well as he might take secrets of the trade that he and others came up with that helped make AEW success and may grant them to WWE. And they don't want that. They don't like that. They don't like that. Now, are fans like Alex willing to admit if they're wrong, after six months, a year or so, if Cody is given the treatment that, a lot of fans feel he's overdue? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? I think just to stick it to AEW, honestly, they may just give Cody the run, even if it's a brief run. They may say, Cody, we're going to make you our champion. What I'm trying to say is, just to, and it's early. I do apologize. I got to get myself some coffee in a little bit and get myself ready for work. But like I said, they'll look at Cody, and just to stick it to AEW, it'll be like, we'll make you our champion. We'll do what that company you helped found and you were an EVP for, never allowed you to do. We'll let you be world champion. And they will. Just to stick it to AEW, they would. Even if Cody's run is for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, it don't matter. They will give him that run. Just to stick it to All Elite Wrestling. But, yeah. The various reasons I've listed off here are why fans are not happy about this. And they're not thrilled by it. Period. And, like I said, I can't blame Cody if, Cody did what, did it for the reason I projected he did it for, or I'm giving my opinion on to why he did it for, and I don't blame the fans for being upset because of the various reasons I mentioned. But again, I will agree that that Cody, he will have no one but himself to blame. So hopefully, when he signed that contract, he put some stipulations in there that WWE has to abide to and agree to make sure that this return is a proper one and a more successful one. But what do you guys think? What are your thoughts upon Cody Rhodes returning to WWE this year for what is now being perceived as the match at WrestleMania against Seth Rollins? What are your thoughts overall? Comment down below in the comment section. Give me your thoughts, as well as give me your thoughts in the live chat during the premiere, where super chats and super stickers are open and would be appreciated, guys. Whatever you guys can do, we greatly appreciated. Also, check me out at BW Rose's Discussions, all your favorite audio podcast locations except for Pandora. Also, check me out at VENMO at BW Roses for content you can't get anywhere else here on YouTube due to copyright reasons. Also, check me out at Venmo at Brian-Walmer-2 to help donate there, and at Cash App at BW Roses98. Also, check me out at DeviantArt.com/BVW1979, and check me out at Patreon.com/BW Roses to help support me there at the $1, $3 tier. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are overall on this situation, on Cody re-signing. How do you feel about it? Again, let me know in the comments as well as in the live chat. And until next time, guys, I am out.